Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload, as you can tell by the title of this video, we will be discussing a potential pattern change, a very large pattern change. Now, there's been talk about, there's been talk about a pattern change for a while. I've made several videos, right? I talked about the large storm systems, and today's video will just be covering all of that stuff, kind of like the large storm systems, the potential first frosts and possibly snow. I know that sounds extreme and it sounds like I'm hyping things up. Again, I still think this fall will be relatively warm, but the signals for at least the first half of September are interesting to say the least. And it's not unheard of to see snow across the mountains and extreme northern portions of the United States in mid-September. But if you guys are new to this channel, consider subscribing. We are weather fans, weather enthusiasts. We do all sorts of stuff with the weather. And yeah, if you guys would like to subscribe, that would be awesome. And if you could like the video, that would be even better. I do apologize about the squeaking chair. That seems to be a very vocal part of this channel. The squeaking chair wants to make its own little weather dialogue, if you will. All jokes aside, let's get into this video. So right now we are looking at the GFS model, Global Forecasting System, and I'll show you more than one model. And I'll actually show you more than one model run because these models have been consistent. So I don't have to, show you just one model and hope that you don't check on your own that this is what other models are showing. It's just been every model is showing this, and really the Climate Prediction Center is talking about this. It's not just it's not a event that's really unheard of or that is untalked about. Let's take a look at this. We have our first large storm occurring today and tomorrow. Lots of rain, storms, showers across just eastern United States. Also delivering a powerful punch across Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, and Missouri tomorrow. So if you're watching this on Saturday, I'm recording this in the early hours of Saturday. If you're watching this on Saturday, you'll be experiencing a little bit of rain across these areas. It will be a bit scattered, but nonetheless, you can see that storm system moves off. And what we notice right off the bat is we see a large cold front extending into the northern portions of the United States. Now, this system is large. It's just very far to the north. You could see across the northern provinces of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, extending into southern portions of Nunavut and Yukon. And yes, that's Yukon. This is Northwest Territories, and Nunavut is with all these land masses that are not really connected, if you will. Okay. Now notice that this storm system seems to be falling apart, right? The cold front tracks across a good portion of the northern United States, but it doesn't do much else. At least that's what it seems. Notice it brings up a lot of this moisture. It creates this environment with this high pressure that kind of or this low pressure kind of carves in a little trough, if you will. And with troughs, we have the jet stream that often takes a path from in that type of fashion, if you will. And with that being in place from the storm system, what we see is actually a lot of precipitation that seemingly comes out of nowhere, kind of spawns, gets torn up into the northern parts of the United States. And you can see we see bands of showers and storms from anywhere the eastern United States, the coast, all the way into Colorado and New Mexico. And we could be seeing some severe weather. And seemingly this is just one storm system, but soon we get 3 low pressures. We get one developing right here with a very strong cold front. The remnants of this storm combining with another wave off of British Columbia kind of form yet another little system. So it's hard to classify this as one storm, if you will, because there's just so many pieces. But I'll just call it as one storm for the sake of simplicity, because I could technically call it 3 storms, but really, let's just call it one. So I'll just call it parts, not storms. So all these parts combine one big storm. So we have the first part on Monday developing storms and showers. We have the second part right here, lots of showers and storms across further south into Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, Tennessee, and we see a storm system developing there. And the third part is right here across the UP, Minnesota, Arrowhead, and northern Wisconsin and Michigan. And this is the little bugger that fully brings a cooler air into the United States. Now, this isn't really the coldest air that the models are showing. If I were to show you the temperatures, or the 2-meter temperature anomalies, you could see lots of cool weather. And the temperatures would be more pleasant rather than cold with this anomaly. You could see 60s, a bit chilly towards the north. And if you're wondering how the time date of the timeline of this looks, it looks as if really we'll be seeing these 3 parts of the storm system occurring throughout the week. And the details still have to be defined or refined, but the 3 waves of the storm occurring across the week, and then the cool air across the next weekend. So, not awfully far out. Without the storms, you wouldn't see the cold air, and the storms are going to begin as soon as Monday. So, the confidence does get a bit lowered as you get further out into the time frame. But definitely, you could see we have not a far time out. 162 hours is really just not that far out. And you may be thinking, okay, so that's a pattern change. We see several large storm systems. Several large parts of a storm system, and we get a little bit of cooler air. So what else do we get? Well, that's not it. We get a little bit of dry weather for the weekend. Saturday, Sunday looks absolutely gorgeous across the Midwest. That would just be... I'm looking forward to that, actually. It just brings a smile to my face, as here in Chicago, I think it's literally the hottest summer on record, and seeing 60s in the forecast is just too good to be true, and I'm sure many people are sharing that same narrative, because it's just been hot pretty much anywhere across the United States. Anywhere you place a little pin across the United States, chances are it was hot and above average. So I'm looking forward to this, and let me know if you guys are looking forward to this, because I think you guys are. I just want to make sure. And then after that, we see a little storm system trying to develop right here across southern Canada. That really isn't even called a storm system, more of a disturbance, if you will. We see a larger, greater piece, a kind of a cold front. This thing really brings in a good lobe of cooler air. I mean, this thing just dives way far into the southern United States, or really deep into the United States. Maybe not the south, but it will bring cool temperatures to the south. And notice, that's the 540 line. This will definitely consist of some frost, possibly, if this were to occur. Now, this would be an extreme anomaly for early September, but again, not unheard of. But maybe some records would be potentially broken. So notice, we have this really large dip, and if I were to show you these anomalies, they are large. They are significant. We could be looking at 20 to 30 degrees below average in terms of Fahrenheit. So here we have the first one. We get a little bit of break, and then we kind of see a second one, and this one stays and gets far into the southern United States, digs far, and this isn't cool weather for everyone. While there's a pattern change gonna really affect everyone, the cool weather is not gonna affect everyone. Notice the West is absolutely sweltering in heat, and that is bad news for the wildfires and for the weather, but that seems to be the trend now. This doesn't look as if it will hold through much of fall, at least I hope, and that's the way it seems. But, there could be a few weeks of this pattern, and if you were to look at the 2-meter temperature shaded, which is what the thermometer reads, just, ridiculous heat for early September across the West, while we are looking at, quite literally, ridiculously cold temperatures across the central United States. I mean, look at some of these temperatures. We are looking at 37, 38. I don't think it will get that cold, because it's just ridiculously cold. I mean, we could be looking at 30s as far south as central Illinois if this were to come true. You got to understand, this would be pretty much historic if this were to occur. But again, this is just one model, but this model has been extremely consistent, and I don't think that there will be a widespread frost occurrence across the northern United States, but it definitely looks at this point that there will be a fall blast that will, ripple through the area. Now, again, at this time of the year, September, usually these fall blasts tend to be more pleasant and cool rather than rather than dangerous. I mean, they're not really dangerous. The heat is the more dangerous part. So in terms of that, the West is in a way worse situation. Now, you may be thinking that's over. Not at all. We see another storm across the East Coast, possibly to do with a tropical disturbance. We'll have to see how that does. But you can see the dip is just very well defined. You can see these lines with this high pressure spin. counterclockwise, and sorry, there was a little pause there, counterclockwise, and that causes basically a dip, and it kind of sends the Arctic air, pretty much Arctic air, from Canada into the United States as early as September. And for the rest of the couple of hours that we have here on this model, it introduces another wave of cooler air, which is even more significant, more deep, and more wide, if you will. It's much more covering a larger area of real estate, and the temperature anomalies are, yet again, very, very cold. So the first half of September may be just downright chilly, which would be extremely interesting to see if that unfolds. And we'll have to see how that plays out. Now, I'll just select a random model from Wednesday. I mean, I'm this confident in showing you this. So, there obviously are large differences, right? Some different model runs are showing a bit weaker signs, some are stronger. So this is what this model run on Wednesday was showing for this weekend. A bit of a cool down, which is forecast to happen. A large storm system. The cool down this model has a bit earlier than what the models are now showing, but the general trend is we do have a cool down. We do have heat across the west. We do have more cooler air masses coming from the west, and you can see, or from the north and west, really. And some of the anomalies are pretty significant. Now, let's take another one. Let's look at the midnight o'clock one on Thursday. You can see very, very similar occurrences. We have large cool downs, large waves of cooler air. It's just been ridiculously consistent, the GFS, which is really just uncalled for. Which is just a good, I guess, a good sign. The GFS may be finally getting its act together. Let's look at the European. This is the model run that just came in. Notice, it is indicating a warm air mass right now, but for this weekend, a bit of a cool-off, or at least more closer to normal. Then we see a bit of a warm-up, maybe depending on how long it lasts. We see a cooler wave across the Midwest, but really with a three-part storm system, it kind of gets ripped apart and doesn't come down into the United States, the European at least thinks, till the weekend. But the European is a bit more reserved with the cooler air to the north, but you could see it definitely shows signs of much cooler air across northern United States, for sure. And I want to show you some of the European model storm system opinions. So we have the storm system occurring today into tomorrow. We see again that many multi-part storm system next week, really occurring across all of the next week. We see again the first wave Monday, Tuesday, lots of energy across the south and even Texas, Oklahoma. So possibly areas that haven't seen rain will be getting rain. Well, obviously areas that haven't seen rain in a while, not ever. Texas has seen rain despite what we may think. It's not all desert and bare. And notice that there's just a lot of precipitation floating around, and we do have that third little bugger, if you will. It's the smallest one, but it brings the biggest pack, biggest punch. That's a lot of things in life, aren't they? Like that. So the smallest things may bring the biggest effects. And notice that we have this storm system right here, this part of the storm system, and that really brings in that cooler air. And the European also keeps it active. I mean, you can see it keeps it just a giant storm system. And next weekend, Monday, this thing's colossal, absolutely huge. So we'll have to see how that works out. But let's take a look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies quickly. This video is getting a bit long, so I want to end it soon. But you can see it does indicate a lot of blue colors, which indicate below average temperatures. But again, it's not going to be all a horrendously cold, widespread frost. I mean, you can see there are going to be phases of this pattern change where it's going to be warm. And again, it looks as if for the western United States, it will be blistering in some locations. You know, Death Valley right here, look, 20, 30 degrees. Above average. That's not the temperature reading. That would be very cold. That's how much it is above average. And then notice the European does indicate a large scale cool down after that big storm system that it includes. So definitely a lot of confidence, and I actually want to quickly show you the 6 to 10 day outlook. Here's a 6 to 10 day outlook temperature wise. This extends from the 3rd to the 7th, so that is the 1st is Tuesday, so that is the Friday, I think the 3rd, or Thursday. Thursday's the 3rd. And it extends from the 7th. You can see they indicate cooler air, warm across the west and the southeast. But again, this is just a very broad view, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these areas across the south do see a cooler air mass as well. You could see above average for the eastern United States, really just east of the Mississippi, but just a large area of dry weather across the west. Now the 8 to 14 day outlook, which stems a little bit further out, more cold air, less warmer air. You could see, gets further down into southern U.S., and the dry air expands a bit into the eastern United States, but still wet across the east and pretty darn dry across the west and the central United States. So definitely still a lot of details to be figured out, but we are on our way to figuring that out. And that's basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.